right, this is my presentation on the reading titled Preparing Communities for Disasters, Issues and Processes for Government Readiness by David A. McIntyre and Amy Myers. To get started, a little introduction. Preparedness is one of the foundations of emergency management, but interestingly, most of the research and attention usually goes towards how we respond after a disaster. If you think about 9/11, it showed just how critical it is to actually be ready for something before it happens. A lot of hazards come with little or no warning, so communities can't just wait and hope. They need systems and plans in place ahead of time. Some definitions of preparedness. There's a couple listed there. Different experts describe preparedness in slightly different ways, but they all share a similar theme. Do the work before disaster hits. Some call it building operational capacity, others say it's about planning, training, and practicing, and others focus on communicating with the public. No matter the definition, the main idea is we need to anticipate problems and make sure resources and people are ready to deal with them. The importance of preparedness. There's a list of different important items there, and then just a little bit about it. Preparedness isn't just paperwork, it saves lives. It reduces injuries, limits property damage, and helps people respond with less chaos. When people and agencies are trained, they improvise better during a crisis. It also helps cut down one of the biggest issues in disasters, and that is poor communication and coordination. By preparing, we identify resources, assign responsibilities, and reduce confusion when it matters most. Research findings. Okay, there are a lot of myths about how people behave in disasters. For example, people often assume everyone panics or turns on each other, but research shows the opposite. Now, most people step up, they help with search and rescue, care for the injured, and even find their own shelter. We also see emergent groups like volunteers, churches, or neighbors forming on the spot. That can be a big asset, but it also creates coordination challenges. Another important piece of local emergency planning committees, or the LEPCs, they've helped communities strengthen communication and continuity in disaster planning. But the two big problems we see over and over are apathy, people just not caring until it's too late, and what's called the paper plan syndrome, where a community has a plan on the shelf but never trains or practices it. Preparedness process. So what does preparedness actually look like in practice? First, you've got ordinances. That's the legal foundation that gives emergency management real authority. Then there's hazard and risk assessments, meaning figuring out what your community actually faces. And that comes, after that comes the Emergency Operations Plan, or the EOP, which lays out who does what, when, and how. Warning systems are a huge part of that. Sirens, media, reverse 9/11, weather radios, they're all designed to give people time to act. Resources are super critical too, not just lists of equipment and contracts, but vendor contracts and grants that make sure supplies are actually available. Mutual aid agreements let communities share resources across boundaries. And then, of course, training, exercises, and public education. Programs like CERT, or CERT, not only train citizens, but also to reduce apathy by giving people ownership in preparedness. Let's see here. There's a couple more on there. Now, our implementation challenges. Even with all of these steps, there are big challenges. Leadership and professionalism make or break preparedness. Good leaders communicate, they stay organized, and keep calm under stress. Another issue is advocacy. You've got to convince both officials and the public that preparedness is worth the time and money, even if disasters seem unlikely. Networking across agencies is critical too, because you don't have to be shaking hands for the first time in the middle of a disaster. And finally, technology can help. Things like GIS, mapping, modeling tools, and even everyday tech like smartphones and the internet can give emergency managers a huge advantage. Conclusion, to wrap it up, preparedness is essential but still doesn't always get the attention it deserves. Communities that anticipate disasters, plan ahead, and practice those plans are always better off. Preparedness saves lives, reduces disruption, and builds resilience. The big takeaway is it's not enough to have a plan on paper. We need to build the culture, leadership, and training that make it real. And for future emergency managers like us, that means continuing to push education, advocacy, and smarter use of resources. And that finishes up my presentation. So thank you.